Welcome to this afternoon's Grow with Google session on how to make better business decisions with analytics. My name is Petia Abdur Razzaaq, and I'm coming to you live from my WeWork location in Harlem, New York City. Today, we're going to discuss how you can make more strategic business decisions with the insights that you gain from using Google Analytics. Here's my contact information. A lot of people like to take a quick snapshot of this slide. Go ahead and do so. If you need to chat with me after this session, the path of least resistance or the most direct path to get to me is via LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Petia A. Abdur Razzaaq, and we can carry the conversation on afterwards. Here's a quick outline of what we're going to cover today together. Let's start with a quick overview of why you should use Google Analytics. Now, ideally, your website should be leading your visitors from one page of useful content to the next page until they finally convert. This is the ideal situation, right? Now, when you use Google Analytics, you are able to better understand your audience and the insights their activity gives you so you can make more strategic decisions for your business. Now, there are many different types of reports that can help you to better understand, first of all, how people found you. That's really important. And then how they engaged with your website. The key pieces of information available that you should make a note of is learning which search terms and sources drive the most traffic, seeing the demographic information for your most profitable customers, understanding what kinds of content your audience is most interested in, and of course, evaluating which channels drive the most conversions. Now, to start collecting basic data from your website or app, so this can also be used for an app, first you need to either create or sign into your Google Analytics account. And to do so, you will go to g.co/analytics, and depending on your situation, you'll do one of the following. If you are just setting up your account for the first time, you would click Start for Free. Yes, this is a free tool. And if you already have an analytics account, you will simply need to sign in using your account credentials. Now, I need to back up for a second and mention that there are multiple versions of Google Analytics. And for those of you who have been using the tool for a while, you would already know this, right? If you already have Google Analytics set up, and you set it up before October 14th of 2020, then your reports will most likely reflect the older version, which was called Universal Analytics. If you set up Google Analytics after that date, or you're setting it up today after this workshop for the first time, then you will see the newest version of Google Analytics called Google Analytics 4 or GA4. Please note that if you're a marketer, any marketers like me out there, that the recommendation is that as a marketer, you should be using the newest version, which is GA4. Now, once you've created or signed into Google Analytics, you will see a dashboard and links to a variety of reports. Reporting lets you visualize data about your users and their behavior across your website or app, or both, if you happen to have both. The default reports answer common reporting questions, but you can always customize the reports to fit the needs of your specific business. The reports snapshot shown on the screen that we're viewing here today is displayed when you click Reports in the left navigation, and you can set any overview report to be a snapshot. Now, on the right side, if you're looking at the screen, the report highlights a feature called Analytics Intelligence. Now, Analytics Intelligence uses machine learning to help you better understand and act on your data and simplifies the process of creating reports. For example, you can type in questions in plain English and get fast automated answers. So an example of this is you may want to know which channel, very important, especially if you're a marketer, if you're not measuring, you're not marketing, which channel had the highest goal conversion rate. So you can simply type that in, and Analytics Intelligence will show you a list of channels ranked by conversion rate. Analytics Intelligence will get smarter over time as it learns more and more about your business and the activity of your website. Another way to use it would be to analyze your data and surface insights on major changes or opportunities. For example, it can point out that a certain landing page or a set of landing pages are performing better than others. So now that you know how to access your Google Analytics account, let's dive a little bit into what you can learn from the reports. Meet Eva and Ricky. Eva and Ricky are small business owners who sell apparel through their online store. Now, up until now, they have been making most of their big business decisions from either their own gut instincts, never a great idea, or ad hoc feedback from existing and past customers. So they have decided to grow up a bit and to set up Google Analytics to get a better understanding of exactly what's working and what's not. Because at this point in time, they need to be able to make more strategic business decisions based on actual data. Now, suppose they want to sell a new t-shirt on their online store. They usually experiment with new designs. And like most business owners, right, we have our favorites, but remember, it's not always about us. It's about what our customers actually want. So in this case, they really liked one of their new prototypes and immediately added it to their website. Now, gut instinct told them that this design was destined to be a bestseller for their assumed, and that's in quotes, target audience, which they think are females between the ages of 35 and 44. Now, sometimes making gut decisions can actually work, but it's almost always better to base decisions and actions based on actual data. Now, even decisions that seemingly turn out to go well or have positive results may see improved results when you have actual data to guide further strategy. Now, Eva and Ricky can probably tell if their new design is selling or not selling just simply based on sales. Makes sense, right? But without data, they are missing out on a lot of potentially useful information. Or worse, they could make incorrect assumptions about what is working and what isn't working, and make decisions that could actually jeopardize their own success, especially over time. Now, if the new shirt wasn't selling, they might just assume, hey, this new design is a flop, bummer, and cut their prices just to offload inventory. But without collecting data, they can't really know what's really happening or not happening on the website. And without data, they don't have much information about the customers who may be viewing the shirt either, which is key. So that's where Google Analytics can help them. The data from the reports can help Eva and Ricky learn more about their site visitors, what they're doing, what they're not doing, and help to guide them into making better decisions for their business. So how could they start to figure this out? And how could you do this for your business? Start by outlining goals. Goals should be the customer actions that you care about the most. Ask yourself these questions. What outcome do you want? What do you want to improve? One simple example could be simply increasing website traffic by, say, 20%. Second, what questions do you need to ask to achieve these goals? What information do you need to know to actually lead you to success? The art of asking the right questions is elusive, but incredibly important here. The questions you ask should directly all lead to you being able to gather data and insights that you can make action on or take action on. Asking the right question should always be a function of your own instinct and a combination of the knowledge that you acquire from the business itself and your customer base. But the answers are almost always found in the data. So figuring out which questions to ask gets easier, of course, over time as you learn more about Google Analytics. Here's a quick tip. The questions we ask about offline advertising campaigns often apply online as well. And step 3, of course, once you have your questions, you need to determine which reports can help you to find the answers. Let's start with goals. Start with the outcome you want in mind. What do you really want to happen here? What are you trying to achieve? Everything that you do should support your goals. Now, of course, depending on the kind of business, there may be many types of goals. The simple example that I shared a few minutes ago was increasing website traffic. But is that goal really meaningful to your business? Not that meaningful if an increase in traffic doesn't ultimately lead to sales or conversion of any type, right? So before we get any further, let's talk about what good business goals are. Now, the recommended method to use in terms of defining your goals is called the SMART framework. And so these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Is the goal specific and detailed? Can you track this goal? How will you measure it? How will you know when it's been accomplished? Is the goal realistically attainable? Will this goal help you reach your business goals? Is it relevant to your business? And most importantly, when do you want to achieve this goal? It's very important to set a time frame. So going back to Eva and Ricky, they might set a goal of wanting to decrease their shopping cart abandonment by, say, 60% in the next quarter. They could use Google Analytics to find out how many users were adding items to their cart over a period of time and compare that number to the total transactions during that same period, and then calculate the cart abandonment rate. When they actually did this, it actually turned out to be 65%, not good at all. Okay, now we have the data. Now we need to figure out what we need to do to improve this. So to reach their goal, they might experiment with modifications to the checkout process. And with each incremental change, they could continue to review their shopping cart abandonment rate to see the effect that each change is having. Here are some things that they may have learned, or they might learn. They might learn that by simplifying the site or reducing the number of steps or improving the load time of the web pages, that they can begin to see improvements and over time lower the abandonment rate. This is just one example of how you can use Google Analytics to track and measure goals. Of course, depending on the kind of business that you have, your goals may vary. So some goals may be, of course, online orders is the first thing that we think about, but how about lead generation, user engagement, growing your mailing list? Depending on the kind of business that you have, you need to outline goals that will move the needle forward for your overall business. Now that we've defined goals, we can consider what questions to ask to meet them. So we're building on this here, right? Let's look at examples of questions to ask to help you to get the answers you need. The framework you see represents the stages of a business's relationships with its customers. You ask questions and use answers to move customers through these stages. Let's start with reach. Reach questions usually deal with how your customers are being drawn to you, right? How they're being attracted to your business. So it could be methods like advertising, organic search, social media, as well as offline promotions. After they arrive, you need to engage them. How easy is it for them to find what they're looking for? Then it's conversion time. The goal here is to help visitors complete important actions on your site. For example, in the case of Eva and Ricky, buying a short shirt. For you, it may be submitting a form with a question about a bulk order or signing up for a newsletter. Ultimately, however, you want to sustain a long-term relationship with your customers because you want them to come back, right? To continue supporting you as well as become your raving fans and refer more customers like themselves. Now, if you set up Google Analytics before October 14th of 2020, your reports, of course, will look different. Some of the reports that you will find in the older version, and of course that was called Universal Analytics, include real-time reports, audience reports, acquisition reports, behavior reports, and of course, conversion reports. But today we'll take a closer look at some of the newer reports available in the new version that's called Google Analytics 4 or GA4. Let's start with acquisition. Now, these reports show data about how users arrived on your website or downloaded your app. They can help you to develop an understanding of how users find your site. The reports include user acquisition and traffic acquisition. You get insight into your users, so your returning users, as well as your new users, as well as traffic acquisition. So the traffic acquisition report shows data about new sessions, the traffic dimensions like medium or the referring channel, which could be cost per click or social media, and the source. The source would be where people were before they arrived on your site. And this helps you to better understand how they're getting there in the first place. The report includes the word session to indicate that the traffic dimensions are about new sessions. For example, session medium is the channel by which new and returning users arrive on your site or your app. This information can help you to understand the effectiveness of all of your marketing efforts. Engagement. These reports help you measure user interactions on your website or app. Engagement includes more than page views. For example, you can measure when users do the following things: check an account balance, scroll down a page slowly. And why is it important for you to know if they're scrolling down a page slowly? That means that they're actually reading the content, which is what you want. You can also tell whether they view product details or spend time on a product page, or they watch an informational video. Engaged sessions, which is what you're seeing on the screen, are a collection of events that a user triggers within a time frame. Now, an engaged session is a session that either lasts 10 seconds or longer, had one or more conversion events, or had 2 or more page views. Of course, if you have an e-commerce website or app, you will probably use the monetization report. This is definitely important for e-commerce, right? It simply tells you whether people are buying your stuff or not. These let you measure purchase, ads, and subscription revenue, and allows you to see how users interact with items, such as, of course, the products you sell, and measure the steps in the checkout funnel. The reports can help you to better understand consumer behavior and enhance your overall monetization strategy. Retention reports help you understand how frequently and for how long users engage with your website or app after their first visit. In other words, are any of these people coming back? If they are coming back, when are they coming back and for how long? And when they come back, what are they doing? One note about these reports: this is a useful metric to consider, but the data in the reports should not be taken as an absolute truth, because in some cases, technology cannot track that the visitor previously visited your website. So it's good to know, but there may be instances where things are a little off. Last but not least, they're demographic reports. The demographic topic helps you classify your users by age, location, language, gender, along with interests they express through their online browsing and purchase activities. Now, these reports include interactive charts, diagrams, and tables to help you visualize the data. One last side note: as online services, including Google Analytics, move away from cookies, and you know this is definitely going on, demographic insights are becoming less reliable. Bummer. But true first-party data, meaning how people are navigating to your site directly, not their demographics modeled via other site behavior, is becoming more and more important. And of course, this is the information that you can find in Google Analytics. Now, using Google Analytics on its own is definitely powerful, but it has another advantage. You can connect and communicate with other tools such as your Google Ads. This allows your Google Ads reports to benefit from the Google Analytics data if you choose to share it. And as a best practice, I would say you should definitely share it. So here are the benefits for doing so. First, you can learn what happens after users click your ad, and this helps you to understand visitor behavior, but specifically paid ad visitor behavior, right? So you don't want to be paying for a bunch of clicks that don't convert. And this information can help you learn what's working and what might be improved with regard to your paid ad campaigns. Second, you can target specific users based on their previous behavior. By linking your Google Analytics and Ads account, you can define customer groups by their activity on your website. For example, you can identify the audience who has put 3 or more items into their shopping cart, only to abandon it. What do you do with this information? You can then target this group with a temporary promotion, and hopefully you'll be able to convince them to follow through this time instead of leaving the site. Thirdly, you can better understand your paid traffic and figure out if certain keywords are actually converting or not. By linking your Google Ads with your analytics account, you'll learn if clicks on your ads actually translate into conversions. Now, in case you're wondering how to do this, here goes. To link your ads and analytics account, you must first create an account for each product you want to link. And if you already have both accounts, you're already a step ahead. Once your account is set up, you can head over to the admin section of analytics, and from there, click the product you want to connect under the property column. The process for each product will vary slightly, but they all involve putting in or selecting the account that you want to link to your analytics account. Here's a pro tip. Be sure that you register all of your Google digital products with the same username and password, because that makes linking the accounts that much easier. So we've covered a lot in just a short amount of time today. Let's talk about what you should do next. Now that you know that you should have goals and that you should ask key questions in order to achieve those goals. Remember to ask questions based on phases of customer engagement and to review they will reach, engage, convert, and sustain. And also get really comfortable with the Google Analytics reports and seek the reports that can help you to answer your questions. Okay, so that is the official end of today's mini session. I hope that you were able to pick up some key things. Again, this session was brought in collaboration with Grow with Google.